Welcome, everyone, back to our Impossible Landscapes playthrough. Tonight, we're doing episode 3 of season 2. Last week, the Scourge spent a little bit of time getting out of. Let's see, was it last week that you got out of the?
Yeah, we got out of the night floors.
The night floors, yeah, and spent some time discussing what to do next. So they've come to the conclusion that the night floors infestation is just gone too far. So they're going to try to destroy the building, the McAllister building. But before they left, Gaucher wanted to give one last chance to the inhabitants, check them out, make sure that they weren't lost causes. You've already spoken to Michelle Van Fitz this morning. Found out that she was apparently very hungover and didn't remember anything about last night and doesn't seem to know anything about the night floors during the day, or at least today. And he spoke to Thomas Manuel, who seemed fairly normal as well. You went down to the basement with Manuel. He stayed down there to look at some of his stuff in the in his basement studio. Gaucher came back up and caught back up with Greeby. Meanwhile, Gourmet was off buying some supplies that you could use to start a fire, but hopefully not altogether. Was would lead the cops going, well, that's obviously for starting a fire, and has come back so that the three of you have kind of met back up. There's still Roger Caron, the author, who's on the first floor, and who's the Louis Post up on the he's the illustrator that's up on the second floor that you haven't spoken to yet. So yeah, assuming that you still want to do that, off to see Roger next since he's on the first floor, or what's your plan?
Gaucher would go to Roger next, but they would wait to see if Greeby wants to join them or if Greeby has something else in mind, because maybe Greeby found something in Manuel's apartment they didn't realize, or maybe they had an idea.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you haven't gotten to that. You had left Greeby in his apartment to look around, and now you guys need to confer. Okay. So yeah. So the three of you are back together. Greeby and Gaucher can fill Gourmet in on what they may or may not have learned, and Gourmet can share his toys. Who would like to start?
A really ornate, creepy-looking mirror underneath its bed, but I didn't do anything with it. I didn't want to get sucked into a mirror.
Come on.
Yeah. Oh, and you discovered that the food in his refrigerator is all like 5 months old, but none of it is rotten.
Yeah, it's expired by over 5 months, yet the food seems like it is fresh. Weird.
I don't know.
No.
That was the 90s for you. So.
Yeah, we had more preservatives then.
It wasn't
Way more
spam.
preservatives.
It wasn't spam either. It was legit food that should be bad.
Yeah, like a carton of Chinese takeout, sticks of butter, some leftover Salisbury steak or something like that.
Jesus.
Stuff that definitely should be like halfway to like Resident Evil mold at this point.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It seems everyone is behaving normally today for some odd reason.
Normally?
Well, strangely, yes, normally. No one's presenting any of the strange quirks from when we first arrived.
Yeah. When you think about like your first encounter with Manuel compared with today's, it seems basically the same. I can't remember.
Van Fitz had through the door kind of seemed a bit more not manic, but more energetic and kind of keying in that she knew something. Yep. And today was a bit of a complete tonal shift.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if you've also seen Manuel at night or if it was just during the day.
Unfortunately, just during the day. So if there are any variations, we are none the wiser.
Yeah, so far it's just Van Fitz that has shown a difference between night and day. The rest, or at least Manuel, seems about the same as he was when you saw him before. So do Greeby and Gourmet want to go with Gaucher to interrogate Roger Karen, or
I don't know if it's as much
something more?
interrogation as possibly. I don't know. Do we want to just see if they want to leave the building for a reason? Maybe they won the Publishers Clearinghouse. We could show up with those signs and be like, "You won! You have to go down and claim your prize now."
I mean, we could just knock them all out and then take them out and put
true.
them in my van and
They open the door, we just punch them in the face. Just
before we burn the building down. If you want, that's probably the most efficient way to save them.
That's if it is feasible to save them.
But but then are they already corrupted? And are they gonna then just try to run around and show people this symbol some more? And
Yeah.
Yeah, Banfitz has already tried, passing a book off on to people. She indicated that she got it from
Mm-hmm.
one of the other tenants, and they had been passing it around.
Creepy
So
does raise a good point. So
it could be they're too far gone, or it could be they just need some good psychiatric help.
I think that we don't have any way of knowing, and if our mission is to eradicate it, then I don't know that we can take the risk. But then again, I guess by that same logic, we might also be too far gone.
For the sake of what is left of my psyche, I'm not going to consider that possibility at the moment. I propose that we don't.
The second half of that? Is that what you're not considering?
Yeah.
Okay.
I propose that we don't prioritize their destruction or salvation. We just focus on the destruction of the building. If they do not survive, they don't survive. If they do, we'll at least have notes on who's potentially a vector of transmission.
all right.
All right.
We
Is
all
Gourmet okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So skip the interview and
To the basement.
the basement.
Burn, baby, burn.
All right. You get down to the basement, and the door is unlocked because you were just down there with Manuel. He's still down there, puttering around in his studio. As you enter the basement, you can kind of see him across the floor. He hasn't noticed you. He's, kind of just busy tidying up a bit. Not actually working, but not painting, but, doing maintenance.
But if he survives, that's somebody who's seen us.
Oh yeah, they've all seen us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just someone having delusions.
Well, Manuel's met both of you, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't think he's met me.
Hasn't met you.
Okay. So I suppose I can do it. Yeah. So he'll.
Wait, what's the plan? If we're trying to start the fire from the basement.
Yeah, it's going to be easier if he doesn't try to stop us.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And we decided we wanted to do it during the daytime, right? Because we were afraid that if we did it at night,
Something might come through.
Yeah.
but do we also think it's gonna affect? I wonder if are the night floors gonna still magically appear if we burn the building down in the daytime? Will it destroy the night floors, or do you have to burn it down at night in order to affect the night floors?
I don't think we can destroy them, at least not simply. But if we could destroy the easiest ways to access them, we can contain it.
Yeah.
Okay, just thought I should bring that up.
It's important.
Yeah.
Now, if floating doors start appearing in this location and we're called again in 3 months, then we'll know that you were correct.
Right. But we'll have a lot bigger problems on our hands if people suddenly see doors in the sky. But at that point, that might not be us. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we need to start it from the basement, but there's a dude down in the basement. Do you want me to take him out?
Gourmet kind of thinks about it for a second. He's like, she's better at it than I potentially am. So
Gaucher's just looking puzzled at the idea of a federal agent saying that Greeby would be better at this, not probably knowing the backstory of that. Just looking like he's ready to like say something, but then just if you could do it quiet, that's probably for the best.
Yeah, just see if you can do it quiet.
Okay.
All right, yeah. What's your approach to take him out? Are you just going to shoot him, or did you want to?
I would say she'd probably just try to, sneak up behind him and snap his neck. If they want me to take him out, like, out. If they want me to just knock him unconscious and then haul him out into a van. But he's like the most fucked up gone one, so...
Yeah.
Our inclination is just snap his neck and be done with it.
Okay.
I'll just stand back and watch then.
Yeah, try a stealth check just to get up close to him.
Okay.
And the other two of you, just duck behind something. Don't need to make a stealth check. There's enough crap down here and enough nooks that you guys can slip to the side.
There's no way to get like advantage or anything in this game, right?
You can get bonuses, but I don't think the situation warrants a bonus because you're entering a fairly well lit.
Is that good?
Section.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's a crit.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's great. Yeah. So he's just sitting there puttering around, kind of humming to himself. You hear him humming a bit of a tune that sounds kind of familiar, and then he sings a little bit to himself. Just a second. And he says something like, let the red dawn surmise what we shall do when the blue starlight and all is through. Da, 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 da. No, wait, that's not how it goes. And they're like, he stops to think for a sec about the lyrics. And then you slip up behind him, and with that critical stealth check, you don't even need to make an unarmed combat check.
Okay.
You have 60% in that. So unless you just want to roll to see if you get a critical, but then you might get a critical fail.
Well, I might fail, so if you're going to give it to me, I'm going to just take it.
Right, so you just kind of slip up behind him, and you want to snap his neck, huh?
Yep.
All right, so and he kind of twitches and like looks at you like foaming at the mouth, and he's like staring into your eyes.
There wouldn't be any of that.
Slips away because it takes a little while to die. But you've interrupted his autonomic functions, and he's having trouble breathing, and eventually he stops altogether. His mouth stops moving, and his face goes slack, and his eyes kind of glaze over. And now you have a corpse.
Okay.
What's next? Sorry. Sanity check versus violence.
No, I feel like she's pretty inert to that, but okay.
I forget what the guidelines are for that. Let's just say it's going to be 1 if you succeed, D4 if you fail.
Oh!
All right, so you'll take 4 sanity damage. Not enough to make you go temporarily insane, but when you fumble on a sanity check, it's not good. I forget exactly what happens. Does that trigger a?
I would think so. I would think it would trigger something, but
Yeah. All right. Y'all bear with me for a second while I double check that.
Well, my paranoia would kick in. Losing 2 more sanity in a single roll triggers an acute episode.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So your paranoia is definitely going to kick in. You're worried about, who might have seen you. You think maybe you see a shadow pass across the, the little windows that sit up high in a basement. right up at that floor level, toward the back of the building. You could have sworn you saw something. Maybe there was somebody back there.
Yeah, it says here, unless your agent finds a way to stifle his or her paranoia, he or she can't trust or rely on anyone. Every event, every disagreement or source of suspicion is a clue to a conspiracy against the agent.
Mhm.
I think in this situation, how that would maybe is that she's paranoid about leaving any of these people alive, because I think she's scared that if they leave anyone. But then now she's worried about that. But she's also worried about, but if we don't, we got to make sure that the body burns well enough so that when they search, they don't see that it died by, a neck breaking instead of died by fire.
Oh, yes. Now you got to make it look like an accident.
Now I got to make sure I make it look like an accident. And yeah, so that's like all the things I think that are spinning through her head right now.
All right. Yeah. So the two of you see her like go up and like snap this guy's neck and lower him to the ground and just kind of like stare into his face for a few moments. And then time goes on, and you can tell she's kind of like locked into a fugue. She's not moving. She's just staring at this guy and occasionally looking up and darting her eyes around the room and staring back at him.
Creepy.
We have to make it look like he died in the fire. We can't just leave him here and what if they find him and then they figure out that he didn't die by fire, he died by having his neck snapped, and then we inadvertently bring attention to Delta Green, which is we can't do. And right.
Creepy.
Yeah, what?
We will take care of this. Let's just take care of one thing at a time. So you snapped his neck.
Right.
We could place him by the stairs and make it look like he fell down the stairs.
Oh, right, when he was trying to run to get out of the burning building.
Right.
That makes sense.
And if he was carrying flammable solvents that maybe reach an electrical outlet or perhaps part of the heater pipes.
So we don't just stage his death, but we also frame him for the fire. Oh,
exactly.
That's brilliant.
Delta Green will not be in any way indicated, and no one will know.
Okay.
Very much trying to be like, we're good.
Because I can't.
Chill.
I can't go to prison. Do you understand? I can't go to prison. They'll find me if I go to prison.
I'm a cop. I really don't want to go to prison. So I understand.
Prison is not fun.
But you're not going to arrest me, right?
No. I'm complicit as well.
Right. Not that kind of cop.
Yeah, but she's paranoid.
Right. So no, I'm complicit in this as well.
Okay. So is Greeby now going to convince the others that you need to go ahead and preemptively kill the other occupants? Or somehow make it to where they cannot escape the building? Is that what you're saying?
She's thinking about it.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense.
Right now, it's running through her head of whether she tries to do that or if she just sort of stakes it out and then just sniper shots them in the head or something as if they try to make it out of the building.
I think something less obvious would be better. And Gourmet is now suddenly becoming a killer because 5 minutes before he wasn't sure. Now he's like, yeah, here's how we're going to kill these people. So
I love how we play hot potato with the two killers and who's like, well, maybe we shouldn't.
Exactly.
It's never the same.
Oh, yeah. Gourmet's now all in. All on these people.
Okay. Yeah, so I think she's gonna be like, oh shit, I said that sniper thing out loud. I guess she just thought she was thinking about it in her head and then realizes that she said it out loud.
Yeah. So everything you thought has been in your head, you now are fearing it was out loud. Yeah.
And now they're staring at me and they think I'm crazy or evil or both.
It's infectious because
yeah, because she's normally the calm, cool, collected one. She keeps this shit under tight wraps for a reason. Yeah. Okay.
But the cover that Manuel started the fire won't do if they find bullets in people's heads.
Oh, you're right. That's right. Right. And we can't really have everyone dying of the same mysterious ways.
Right. So I
Oh.
think
Okay. So we're gonna have to hope that the building kills them.
You mean the building that will kill them?
Why
If
do you
they
say
can't-
it that way, Gaucher? That was really creepy.
Assuming that
She's like, what is happening?
Like, Goshi's taken aback by being called creepy at the moment.
I didn't say he was creepy. I said that sounded really creepy, what you just said. Now,
Goshi kind of gestures to some of the clutter in the basement. Artists are notoriously messy, and everyone knows we're here to clean up an artist that disappeared after literally not crushing, scrapbooking her entire apartment. It would be a
Ooh, I
shame.
I'm sorry. That totally also gets us off the hook of not finishing the job because everything burned down, so we couldn't possibly finish the job.
That's right.
So they can't be upset with us for not finishing the job.
And if the other artists had similar cluttery, clumsy streaks and couldn't escape in time because of the clutter, no one.
So we're gonna clutter the place up?
We're going to lock the doors and hope the fire melts the locks and put some clutter in front of it.
I don't know about the clutter. I think it's better to just start the fire here. I think we're overthinking this.
Yeah, I mean, suffice it to say, though, that Greeby definitely does disable, I would say, and dismantle the surveillance equipment before they go around and do all this.
I'm glad you approve.
Yeah. I don't
That's
know.
creepy.
Will fire melt locks? Melt metal?
Depending on what they're made of, if it gets hot enough. I mean, a lot of the fixtures in this place are brass, and that has a melting temperature of 800 something.
Yeah.
Let's not again get into the debate about melting iron and stuff.
Yeah, so it could get that hot, you know.
She just doesn't
Steel
want to like.
beams, probably not, but yeah.
I think she just doesn't want to tip anybody off that like why were all the doors locked.
Yeah.
But I guess it's not crazy to have your doors locked in your apartment. She's just like she keeps spinning.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, no, Vanfitz for one definitely had hers locked.
right. Okay. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna have a cigarette. And then I'm gonna come back and it's gonna be fine. And Gaucher is right and we have a good plan and this makes sense and let's just do it.
Gourmet is just going to show the bags of the stuff he bought. Be like, I've never intentionally started a fire, so I really have no idea what to do with all this.
Handler, a question.
Yeah.
Would knowing how to start an arson be under criminology, forensics, or a different skill?
Or demolitions.
Forensics would probably be the more applicable one because you would just basically reverse engineer the sort of knowledge you have about figuring out if something was arson or an accident. Yeah, maybe criminology you could pull an argument for, but I think forensics is one.
I have a 50 in criminology and a 30 in forensics. So
I got 21 in forensics.
okay. So maybe one of us do know. Okay, here's what we learned. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because okay.
So you put your heads together. Gourmet roll forensics with a
Forensics.
roll a plus 20. Yeah.
I mean, I have a nuclear physics degree, but that probably won't help right now.
Not helpful. Yeah. Roll forensics with a plus 20.
Okay.
So that's actually a success then, because it would be your target would be 50.
Okay, so I don't
You
need to
give me
roll.
plus 20 because you and Gaucher are putting your heads together.
Okay.
So
So
that's a success. So yeah,
Okay.
you come up with a way to
Okay.
sort of stage the setup to make it look like you go with like your plan of Manuel came in and like tripped on because it's like just 2 or 3 steps down from the door into the basement because it's the steps from outside down into the little underneath the stairs take you most of the way down. So there's just like 2 or 3 steps, and you just sort of make it look like he tripped going down, and he laid himself out, and a can of whatever, some boiled linseed oil or something, kind of spilled across the floor, and then you make like a trail over to the boiler nearby, and get everything set up. So all you got to do is toss in a match and then run. You probably you also go back to his painting area and mess it up. Just get it like super messy. Get a pile of get some linseed oil and some rags and throw them into a pile because that can self ignite. And you give like lots of different options for the ways that the fire could have started, so that it's like, oh, it could be anything. Who knows? This building is old.
Arranging the glassware like perfectly with the windows to have like something catch on fire or something.
yeah, move some things around so there's fire hazards, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Greavy's out, having a smoke, just kind of like sitting on the stoop. A mom walks by pushing a stroller, a little dog on a leash, one of those little yippy dogs. Doesn't like her at all. It's just like yip, 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 and they cross to the other side of the street. Keep an eye on you, so they're definitely seeing you. Okay. And they wander on. In the midst of your paranoia, you think, she looks kind of Russian.
Fuck.
The dog.
The dog looks Russian. Yeah.
She's sitting there trying to like restrain herself from running over there and like checking to make sure there's actually a baby in the baby carriage.
Right? It doesn't look like there's enough weight in that carriage to actually have a baby.
Yeah.
And it's awfully quiet for a baby.
Oh my god.
Do you resist or do you rush over?
Is there like some sort of restraint roll that
You could roll. Can't actually roll willpower.
there's not really a mechanism for like how does she get her?
You could spend a willpower just to not do it.
Okay, yeah, she'll spend a willpower. I don't really know how that works.
You have to use willpower, so.
Power is her strongest thing, I think. No, actually, charisma is. But
it was until you had that
was.
issue where you lost two power. Forget why.
Yeah, forget. Okay, so she'll spend a willpower to like get a grip and turn around and go back into the building.
Okay, yeah. So you get in there and you have to step over Manuel, who's like splayed out, with his head sort of artfully turned so that it looks like he broke his neck when he fell. There's a spilled can of oil on the floor, and these other two are like just kind of puttering around, rearranging the basement so that it is more fire friendly.
And Gourmet is wiping down anything they touched, try to get rid of fingerprints.
Anything I can do to
thinking,
help?
because there's really no reason for you guys to be down here. Yeah.
Yep. So he's wiping all the doors,
Did you touch any of the other doors in the building? Does that
Surely
occur?
we're smart enough to have gloves on.
Yeah, definitely occurs to Greavy. What doors did you touch?
Yeah, occurs to me. I'll work on that. While I'm taking all the electronic surveillance equipment down.
I mean, Gourmet probably bought some gloves at the hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
For probably bought 3 pairs for all of us. So he gives Gaucher a pair.
Good thinking.
I mean, Greavy has black leather gloves.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she.
But these are the nice, elbow length rubber gloves that
Exactly.
that you could use, for washing dishes and stuff.
Oh, the nitriles, yes.
Guys are just adding to the creepiness. Okay, but all right.
They're bright orange.
We got the yellow cuff.
Okay.
like Dexter's mom. So
Yeah. Okay. So Greeby heads back upstairs to check the building, and it seems like there's a lot of people walking up and down the street today.
Well, she's not near windows. She's not looking out. No. No. She's just focusing on getting the camera equipment.
Yep. You just pass a couple, a young couple holding hands walking down the sidewalk as you come running up out of the basement area and up the short flight of stairs into the building. They look at you like, "Why? What's the hurry, lady?" And it's a bit too early to say "Okay, boomer," but
they don't say that yet.
but that that feel to it. You zip upstairs, and you'll remember that you've been into all the rooms on the third floor. You touched all the doorknobs up there going in to install your equipment. Oh my God, you've got surveillance equipment installed everywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what she's. And also any footage that she, although she wouldn't have left that in the apartment, she would have taken it to. So, but yeah, she's gonna make sure there's none of that in the girls' apartment too.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's
you
what she'll
spend half an hour ripping out. I'm guessing you're not being careful. Just ripping out all your surveillance stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to break the equipment, but But it's also like her special training is in electronic surveillance equipment.
Yeah.
Really
All
good
right,
at
so
what she
you
does.
spend an hour then getting it out carefully. Get the camera off the roof, get all the microphones out of the third floor.
Yeah, gather up anything from her apartment that any of us might have left behind.
Yep. At one point on the third floor, you think you hear maybe a calliope in the distance, and you're not sure if it's the ice cream man outside or if it's coming from the room next door.
I could go for an ice cream right about now.
It
Fuck
is
you!
sad. Yeah.
And she just stands in the hallway, is like, "Fuck you, clowns!" And then like, "Fuck you!" And then like, just keeps doing what she's doing. Just like, no, not engaging with this fucking place.
All right, so you guys get all that sorted out. You get the basement prepped the way you want it. You get your equipment out. What are you doing with the evidence that you have collected so far from Wright's apartment? The part that you were here as your job.
I suppose it's still up there.
I think we let it burn with the rest of it because we don't want that symbol getting out. We don't want.
It's true. It's true.
We don't know what about it might be infected, so to speak. I think we should just let it all burn.
It's true.
Okay.
As much verbal reported, but no recreations of anything visual.
Yeah. And it makes sense that you have been leaving the stuff in the apartment, so there's no reason you wouldn't have left it over the weekend. But I didn't know if there was something you particularly wanted on your own.
I don't want anything.
That's good. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the Delta Green procedure. You're burning all of the crap.
Burning the.
I don't want to
Actually,
imply
maybe
that you should be saving anything because you're doing it right.
Maybe I should let all of the footage, like all the video and audio, recordings, burn with everything else. Okay. All right. Yep.
Maybe it was just a creepy neighbor filming his fellow neighbors.
It was the
Right.
landlord.
And if the building burns well enough, who's going to find that stuff anyway?
Oh yeah, that stuff's gonna the tape. It'll burn.
But on the other hand, you paid good money for those VHS tapes. They're yours. Why not keep them?
It's what, 1995. You can get them you can get like 10 of them for $5.
Hey, that's $40 today.
Yeah, exactly.
And long play ones too that you could record 90 minutes on.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. Yeah, well, what that is, that means that the tape was thinner, and so that means it'll melt that much faster.
All right.
Because the way they fit more tape onto those is by making the tape itself thinner.
Yep. Yeah, the long play ones always used to get eaten.
And that they will crap out first.
Yeah. All right. So, any other preparation that you want to do? Are you ready to?
I just realized something. We brought a whole bunch of acetone to Abigail Wright's apartment.
Mhm.
It would be a shame if one of those cans tipped over in the chaos of the fire and made especially sure that place went up in flames.
Good point.
Yeah.
How are we communicating to each other that, okay, now it's going to happen? You need, so that we have this timed.
Yeah. Do you have an idea of how to like set up a timed fuse down there, or?
We don't have walkie-talkies.
No.
I don't believe so. We have our ancient mid-90s cell phones.
I mean, you could get some walkie-talkies, but you haven't had them so far.
Well, if we have our ancient mid-90s cell phones, we can use those.
How about this? Shay, you go up and do that. We'll wait down here so that we all leave together.
Okay. Oh yeah, she's gonna watch this motherfucker burn.
Yeah.
With
She
a cigarette
wants
at the part.
She wants to make sure it fucking burns to the ground.
Okay.
So we'll wait here.
I will return momentarily. I left my watch upstairs. And he goes to the apartment totally for their watch and not to strategically place the cans of acetone evenly around the room and then accidentally spill the fullest one right in the center and let the puddle of it get right perfectly close to kick off a few of them.
Okay.
Okay, there's a temptation in my mind, but I don't think Gaucher would fall for it. Or actually,
Yeah, I mean, we could also just time it. Like, I'm sure we have watches, so we could just be like, at this, whatever.
Mhm.
You light that one, and then you in the basement light that one, and then we exit.
Yeah. There is a temptation to slip that special symbol out of the stack of evidence.
Spend a willpower.
Might be too precious to burn.
Have you seen the yellow sign?
I gotta roll.
Spend a
I gotta roll
willpower.
for.
Yeah, or you can just you can just spend the willpower to push through it. But if you want to roll, roll. I guess roll power, because that's sort of like your willpower. That's what willpower is based off of, anyway.
Oof. So I imagine it's not even conscious. They're going out. They look at the box, and their hand moves on their own to grab the symbol and tuck it into their boot. They've even thought about it.
Making a note of that.
Great.
It's fine. This will not have any consequences whatsoever later on.
All right. So we should cover the exits, multiple different exits, in case anybody tries to run out.
We need to get out of the building once we start the fire.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, from outside. Like,
What do you plan on doing? Shooting them as they come out?
I don't know. I guess I can't really do that.
We can't do that.
We can keep track of who makes it out and who doesn't. If
Right.
we have a list of who
That's
survived,
But we
So, yeah,
can't sit
we
there and just
should-
snipe them as they come out.
We should.
Right, yeah.
We should watch. You're right.
I mean, this
we
is my
should-
first murder, so
We should definitely know. We should watch, and we should document if anybody does
Yeah, so-
actually get out.
As far as exits go, you've just got the front door. That's the only like main entrance. But each apartment has a fire escape.
right.
Yeah.
Or each side of the building has a fire escape that goes up to the two actually, one for each set of apartments, because remember there's 4 apartments per floor. So there's window escapes to those fire escapes. Do you wish to sabotage them in some way?
No.
No, but we should watch them.
As long as we can get to a safe distance, then we can watch them.
Okay. All right. So you set up like you light a rag, leave it lying on the floor near, like just away from something more flammable. and make sure that you don't leave like the match with it or anything like that. So it's just the rag, and then you slip out, close the door, or actually you probably would leave it ajar, because if he fell going down the steps, he wouldn't have been able to close the door behind him.
Exactly.
And slip out, and then walk down the road a little bit, and sit on a little bench next to one of those trees that grows up through the sidewalk, watching all the people walking by. There are several people out enjoying the Saturday morning. The weather's kind of nice, and they're just sort of moving back and forth. You are worried that someone might spot the fire.
Well, let's get something to eat so that we have an alibi. So is there like a hot dog cart or
yeah, I'm sure there's a hot dog cart
Yeah.
or some sort of street meat not too far away.
Yeah, let's Gourmet is going to go up, at least for himself, and be like, 3 hot dogs, please. He normally doesn't eat that shit, but he just wants to.
Yeah, so you guys stand around
be
the hot
seen.
dog cart.
Greeby's gonna put a baseball cap on and tuck her hair up under it so that people can't see what her shade of hair she has.
Gaucher goes for like a face covering mask because their cover at work right now is that they're out sick. So on the off chance a camera catches them, it's I was like trying to get some sunshine because that's supposed to help my health.
All right. Yeah. So you guys get your dogs, and about it doesn't take long to eat a hot dog. So about the time you're getting toward your last couple bites, you hear a scream from down the street, and someone yells, "Fire! Fire! Somebody call the fire department!" But it's going to take a few minutes for them to get there. Not too long after you hear the scream, you can kind of see just like the flickers of firelight, on the building across the street from it, and you see smoke going up. You've got things set up pretty well, so the whole thing goes, blazing pretty quickly. You're not seeing any of the occupants running out through the front door, but you don't have that good of a view because you wanted to get kind of far away. So, are you going to get closer, stay where you are, go hide somewhere? What's your plan?
I definitely wanted to be where I could see if anybody fucking leaves the building. Like, she's not fucking around about that. Like, we need to document if anybody
Gourmet's
gets out.
like, Greeby, you can go back. Help yourself.
Okay, so then Greeby then is back down the street with a hot dog, so you can see what's going on. You don't see anybody leaving the front door. You can't be absolutely sure of the rear fire escapes, but nobody comes like out of the little alleys that go back behind the building. It's just like a little yard back there. It doesn't go anywhere else. So if they tried to escape through the back, they'd have to like climb up into one of the other buildings. So you're fairly certain that nobody comes out. You guys did a good job. Just rubbernecking and watching the fire and eating a hot dog like people do.
She's annoyed with her teammates for what she gets for working with not trained agents.
And the building, by the time the fire department gets there, it's already starting to collapse in on itself in a few bits. So they managed to get the side buildings like wetted down because they're starting to smoke. There's enough heat coming off that the buildings on either side and the one toward the rear are kind of starting to smoke a little bit. Luckily, they're all brick facades, so there's not any danger of like wood shingles or anything heating up. But you hear some cracking as the bricks snap from the heat when they get hit by the water. They managed to keep the fire from spreading, but the building pretty much collapses in on itself, and they hose it down to keep the fire minimal, but there's no chance that anyone will have survived. Greeby's watching, right? So give me a perception check. Is that a thing in here?
Let's see.
What is she?
Alertness, perhaps?
Alertness, that's the one.
Alertness?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck. By one again. Why is it always by one?
No, that's fine. Yeah, you don't see anything untoward. Everything looks a little chaotic enough that, to your eye, it seems like you might have gotten away with it. How long do you stay hanging out?
I think she's gonna stay for a while. I mean, she might, she's gonna try to keep a healthy distance away from the fire, any law people that show up. But
Okay. Yep.
she's just gonna try
yeah,
to blend, like with the other gawkers,
Yep. There's definitely several other gawkers there. There's people with cameras. The old 24 roll or 24 shot, disposable
Disposables.
cameras that you can take on. There's a reporter there with like a real camera taking good photos. They get some shots of the crowd. You manage to like kind of duck your head and
yeah, she doesn't want to. Yeah, she don't want to be on any fucking.
stay out of frame pretty much. But yeah, so you can stay there until everything is done and they go away. This is going to take hours. So what are Gourmet and Gaucher doing while Greeby is just standing around rubbernecking?
I think Gourmet, maybe he's just going to listen to the crowd, see what people are saying.
Okay.
Just kind of get that man on the street opinion of what's going on.
Right. And you get a mix of, oh, how horrible. That's so terrible. Their family's going to be devastated. And, you get the few people that are like bitching about the artists that live there and how they, probably brought this on themselves, smoking their pot and, doing their things. And, you get the typical neighborhood spectrum of, people who were fully compassionate and people who are like, yeah, fuck them.
And the real people come out in tragedies.
Yep. Luckily, it skews more towards compassion, and everybody kind of shushes the assholes. But
he's just calmly waiting. This should bother him more than he thought it would, but no.
Okay.
He thinks they did what they were supposed to. So.
All right. I need each of you to make a sanity check versus violence.
Okay. So that is
You did just kill 3 more people.
It's just a regular sanity roll then?
Yeah, it's a sanity roll. But the cause is from violence. So if you manage to fail but not go insane, you can.
I got you. Okay. I wasn't
sure. You can mark your violence box. Gotcha. But it looks like Leo fumbled. Hendrick's good.
Nope.
All right. So what should it be to burn down the building? Let's call it a D6 for those who failed and 1 for Hendrick or for Gourmet for.
Of course.
Ouch!
Oh, Minty, you just took 5, so you are going to go temporarily insane.
This is fine.
Let me look up the rules on that.
Yes, the plan is coming together now. What's the plan?
All right.
What's the plan? It's written in yellow. Don't worry about it.
So you lose your self-control. And for a time, you can't control your agent's actions. Your primitive brain switches into pure panic with one of 3 possible responses. So flee, struggle, or submit. All right. So what stance do you take? Flee, struggle, or submit?
For extra loss to the madness, we could roll a die for it or leave it up to handler.
No, I'm good with that. Yeah, roll a D3. You have to do that in 420?
All right. Oh, now I roll 1.
Yeah, okay, so flee. Yeah, so you're suddenly overcome with a need to get the hell out of there. You are really worried about getting caught. You think your job is done. Where do you flee to? And by flee, it means you're like running full tilt. It says that you're going to flee for a number of rounds equal to your con, and then you're going to fall to the ground exhausted. or until you feel safe. So
if Gosha has claustrophobia, I think the only way they would feel safe is in a wide open space. So it's either they get somewhere like that in 10 rounds or they collapse before then.
yeah, okay. So luckily you are just a few blocks from Madison Square Park, if I remember correctly. I think it's Madison. Switch to the New York City map real quick.
Ooh, it's all going dark.
Gourmet's gonna
Madison
follow.
Square Park is like 5 blocks catty corner from where you are. So, and that's nice and open. That's where you met with Agent Marcus back in the first episode. So yeah, that's probably the way you would go. The other option is to run east to the river, and like get out, at least having the city to your back and the river, East River, off, to your front. So either way, your choice. What do you feel like? Nature or slightly stinky water?
I think the park will call to them more because it's a bit more familiar. So maybe that familiarity brings a little bit more safety. Okay. So it's like past fountain to like the deepest part of the park that's open to the sky. Probably perfect for a picnic, and just collapse onto the ground.
Okay, yeah. So you enter the park from the northeast corner, passing by the statue of that guy whose name I can't remember. There's like a statue of some dude there. It's not Madison. I can't. And head like straight in down the path toward where the fountain is, where things open up, and you kind of like collapse over up against the fountain. Maybe splash a little bit of water on your face. People are giving you the side eye because you come flying in pretty fast. But now that you're calming down, they're walking away. A nice little old lady kind of walks up and hands you a handkerchief. Are you okay, Sonny?
About as all right as I will be. Thank you.
I wanted a Gourmet chase him.
All right, yeah. So you follow after him. He's a bit hard to keep up with because he's like going full tilt, weaving through the crowds, which leaves behind him a wake of people going, "Hey, what the?" That kind of slows you down a little bit, but you get there just in time to see this little old lady handing him, a handkerchief as he's leaning over the fountain edge, looking like he might puke.
And he's gonna wait for the old lady to leave.
Yeah, and so she'll stay there for 5 minutes or so as he calms down and finally says, you can keep the hanky. I've got plenty. I just hope you feel well. You take care of yourself now. And she heads like back over to like her family group, who's like, on the edge of their seats in case they have to run over and save grandma. And then they're just like shaking their heads as she comes back and she's waving them off. You can't really see what they're saying, but you can kind of tell from body language. They're like, "Grandma, what are you doing? Don't talk to strangers like that. Guy could be on drugs or something." Yeah. So you got Gaucher there. How do you?
Gourmet's gonna walk up about 5 feet from him and just kind of say in a low voice, "Gaucher, are you all right?"
No, but I am good enough to be done with this.
Done as in quitting?
No, just done with the mission.
What does that mean?
It means that I will most likely require a certain type of assistance, but we can still get the job done in debrief.
Can I trust you to come back on your own?
Let's wait until the fire is done to be safe. Or I will.
All right. I'll give you your space. Okay. And then Gourmet's gonna walk away.
Very nurturing of you.
Oh, he's becoming completely cold-blooded. I'm amazed. He went from like, we shouldn't kill these people to like,
Yep.
yeah.
Are you sure you made your sand roll?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what was almost scary about it was the fact that he was that calm. So, yeah. So
Completely unaffected by this.
Yeah.
Greeby, you lost 4 sanity, but you didn't go temporarily insane. So don't forget to mark 1 dot of the failure due to violence. And actually, didn't you? Let's see. There was another one today. The one you fumbled on. You also didn't go insane, even though you had a panic attack.
Does she need to roll like a stealth or a disguise to just like she just wants to make sure she doesn't end up in any photographs or like if she does,
Yeah, you're doing a pretty good job of it. But yeah, if you want, go ahead and roll stealth.
Okay.
It's a big crowd, so you can take a +20 on that.
Oh, okay. Well, I made it without a +20, so with a +20, it's
okay. Fine. Yeah, no, you got, like you said, you got your hat on, and you managed to be like stay behind people and keep other members of the crowd between you and reporters. You might get caught by like one of the locals taking crappy disposable camera pictures, but you're not as worried about those because they're not going to get circulated publicly. Eventually, the crowd thins out and leaves. The ashes, start to cool. The smoke goes away. And are you the last to leave, or are you going to? When are you going to give up?
I don't know. It's a good question.
When they start shoveling people out.
I think she wants to sit and wait and see what happens once it clicks past the time for the night floors to show up.
Okay. So you wait until dusk.
I think she's waiting to see also if like Gourmet or Gaucher are going to come back or not. But
right. It does occur to you in your paranoid state that hanging around the building until dusk, since this occurred in the morning, is going to be a bit suspicious. So do you want to leave and come back?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, you could.
Well, I mean, and she can. I feel like I think she feels like she can see. Like she needed to be closer to make sure that like none of the people like slipped out or like that she But I think from a distance, she could be away from like a more of a distance and see if like floors magically appear up in the sky or some like crazy shit.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you could actually slip into one of the neighboring buildings and like go up to the roof and hide or something like that. If that's all you want to do, is just hang out. Yeah. You just want to stay in the area. That's not hard.
She preferred to not do it alone, but I think she was hoping that the guys weren't going to just split on her. But
I think Gourmet was headed back to check on you.
Gourmet is coming back. Yeah.
Okay, so then when she sees him, I think she's going to suggest. Ask him if he wants to.
There's one of those new Starbucks they just opened.
You want to get some? Yeah.
Let's get some coffee.
Let's get some Danishes.
Yeah.
And let's cop a squat on top of the roof. Keep an eye on this fucking place.
And he'll send did we decide if you could send texts on a 1995?
I think we figured out that was not as likely. Yeah. But you had to do messages, answering machine messages.
All right.
Because I think either somebody looked it up and we hadn't started doing SMS yet, or it was just so rare.
Yeah. Because what he wanted to do was contact Gaucher to like let him know where they are when he's ready. So.
Right. Yeah. So that. Not really easy. So you guys slip off to the new Starbucks, grab your stuff, and you're going to head back and like climb up to the roof of the building across the street from McAllister.
Really overpriced coffee. This is amazing, and people will pay for this.
So Gaucher, I guess we'll try. What's your plan after Gourmet leaves you at the park?
They're gonna give it a good solid couple hours of just staying in the open, maybe finding a bench, maybe going over to maybe a nearby bookstore or something just to grab a book to give them cover of, oh, I'm just reading in public because I've had a very stressful morning that totally led to this momentary lapse in judgment and nothing else.
Okay, yeah, sure. You slip over to a nearby bookstore. As you go kind of wandering down the street, your head is in an odd space. So you were kind of, in some ways, not really paying much attention to where you're going, just sort of looking, glancing at at storefronts, building fronts, just until you see something that looks to be what you want. And eventually, what looks like a bookstore catches your eye. You can see one of those nice big glass fronts with like some displays of books in the inside, and like really old peeling paint that used to it looks like it said bookshop on it. You can kind of make out like half an O, OK, SH, and then like the O and P are kind of like faded off. So it's like, but it looks like it says bookshop on it. Definitely, more of a used bookstore than a brand new store. It just doesn't look like it makes enough money to be a new bookstore. It's not a Barnes and Noble. It's some mom and pop store. And you slip into there, bling bling. It's got the little bell on a spring. And you walk in, and you're immediately hit with that smell of lovely old books, like old leather and moldering paper. This is definitely antique and used type books. There's like one little bookcase off to the side as well, like some new stuff. You got some James Patterson and Grisham and things like that. The real popular stuff. But everything else, as you look past it, is definitely older book types. Standing at the little cashier's register is a gentleman of sort of indeterminate age, black man, interestingly dressed. He is wearing a suit that could be from. It could just be like a well done modern suit with just a bit of ancient flair to it, or it could be a bit older. It's really hard to place. It's sort of a timeless suit, let's put it that way. And he just sort of gives you a nod as you come in. Is there anything you particularly want to look around? You can see that the it's sort of a narrow but long storefront or store. So like you've got stacks of bookshelves that kind of like almost like baffles, where it's like they're staggered side to side, and you kind of have to go like this to go down the rows. You wander in a little bit, and what do you do?
I think Gaucher isn't looking for anything particular. They need this to kind of get a little bit of like sanity under their feet. Something normal, something not at all related to the mission, something that they enjoy, something to just unplug, not worry about the interdimensional horrors of the world that they have to fight against screaming at them, and then get enough sanity to replug back in for yet another round of get kicked in the dick by the cosmos.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. So you start to wander back, just kind of looking at the various books. And let's see here.
I suddenly start smelling raw sewage. No.
No, not raw sewage, but as you wander back through, you do smell cat pee. Is that something that the Gaucher would be familiar with?
Some of their family before they immigrated probably had a cat.
Okay, yeah. So you smell a little bit like cat pee, like maybe the shop cat has made a little nest around here somewhere. So you sort of like look around for it, and you find a sort of darkened area where there's a like the light bulbs are burned out. It's kind of shadowed. Um, um, do you have any science like biology or zoology?
I got science, biology, and epidemiology. They may both
Oh,
be at 20, but I got them.
all right. Is your biology 40 or higher, or either way you can roll it?
The biology is unfortunately only 20, but I'm still happy to
Okay, roll it
roll
plus
some
20.
bones.
Um,
Can we please do that? Sorry, I'm having to figure out how to select it because it's. Oh, there we go. I'm just silly.
Yeah, success. So as you kind of poke around, curious about, where's the shop cat, you like look up, behind a couple of some boxes of books that are kind of like stacked in one area, and you find the smell gets a little bit stronger, but you find an area where like there's some books and magazines that have been torn up by claw marks. Um, there's some piles of refuse around the area. There's like maybe even a book that's been like chewed on a little bit. Um, but it's obvious to you that this is not a house cat. The claw marks are too wide. The urine smells too gamey, maybe. Um, this is something the size of like a bobcat, maybe a cougar. Um, and that's about it. Yeah, there's some water ruined books and some broken glass and stuff like that. Survivor roll if you want to like try to get any more information out, or I'll understand if you want to just back away slowly.
My survival's at 10. Gaucher is not a creature of the woods, but they do have a creature of common sense, which is if you don't know it, get the fuck away from it. So it is very much just eyes all around, trying to look for where something could hide as they're trying to slowly return to the main floor.
Yeah. So you slowly back up, and as you back into the area and start to turn and go back where you came from, you realize that you're kind of lost. You're not sure exactly which way is back toward the front of the building. You're kind of surrounded by tall bookcases. They seem taller than maybe they felt before. Kind of closing in on you a little bit toward the top, a lot like skyscrapers leaning in and closing off the sky.
Nope. The moment it starts, they just close their eyes for a second, look at the ground. If this place is old, it might be dusty. They're going to look and see if they can find their own dusty footprints before they go running off in a panic.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so you managed to get yourself under control. Start wandering, around. You've got your eyes to the floor, keeping things focused and moving through the bookcases. When you notice snoring coming from like a little bit higher above you, just gentle snoring. Does not sound like a cat snoring.
I know I complain about the Cosmos kicking Gaucher in the dick, but part of it is their own damn curiosity. They pause and slowly look up.
You look up, and as you look up, you're kind of like, and you see lying across the top of a bookshelf, what looks like a hobo, disheveled, a homeless gentleman, been sleeping up, at the top, and but he doesn't look like a modern homeless man. He looks like he's sort of dressed like a 1930s hobo, and he just kind of gives you a crooked smile and says, "Shh." What do you do?
Penny for an escort to the front.
Why do you need to get to the front?
Because I've already been to the back. Now I need to go back to the front. Then I can go back to the back again.
Oh, that's a good question. Hang on a sec. And he kind of gets up on his knees and looks around, points off in a direction. I think the front's that way.
Follow the direction to see if that makes any sense or if it just seems like a random direction.
From where you're standing down, I mean, these tall bookcases, he's up like, these are like 10-foot tall bookcases. You're like, sure, that could be the front. It's 50-50 that he's right. Just from, judging from the walls. You can tell he's not like pointing you in the direction of the side walls. So he's at least making an effort.
I'll flick him a whole nickel 5 times and just nod and head that way and hope that this ain't the end, or rather the beginning, or maybe the end.
All right, thanks. And he like goes to grab the nickel and it's like, whoa, and falls off. And you hear a loud thump as he hits the floor on the other side of the bookcases. You gonna check on him?
I hate being someone with medicine. I'll turn around to kind of see, like, does he look okay? Or does he look like he just has neck snapped?
Well, he fell off the back. He fell away from you onto the other side of the bookcase. And these bookcases they're not see-through.
Shit. Gaucher will round around the bookshelf slowly because they don't know this guy and if he's dangerous.
Nothing there. Make a sanity check.
There it is.
The unusual. 0 or 1. 0 if you say okay, you're good. Yep. This doesn't strike you as particularly odd.
After everything else.
Yeah, considering everything else is going on. Yep, nobody there. But you do find a book lying on the floor where perhaps the man would be, and it's illustrated with a silhouette of a napping man. The cover is illustrated. You haven't apparently picked up the book yet. Do you pick up the book?
Given what they've found at this place, they have a funny feeling of where they've accidentally ended up. And they're going to have a little bit more self-preservation this time and leave the book be and just go to the front. If there is a front here anymore.
Yeah. Okay, you follow back the way he was pointing, and you manage to get your way back to the front. Doesn't take too long. Eventually the bookshelves become a little less ragged and chaotic, a bit more, formally laid out, less staggered between them, and you find yourself back at the front. Gentleman's, still behind the counter. He's smoking what looks like a Turkish cigarette. One of those dark, thin, almost cigar-like things. Has a sweet smell to it. And he gives you a nod. You find everything you're looking for?
Just out of curiosity, do you have a section about plays?
Yes, we have plays, poetry. Oh,
I'm assuming those would be in the back, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, we scattered around a few places. We have a few up front, but most of them will be toward the back, right?
I have friends that are interested. I'll have to tell them about this place.
Oh, please do. Please do. Pass it on. Love to get new customers.
Have a wonderful day. And
although I can't do it, he has an accent that you can't quite place. It's somewhere North African, but it doesn't sound like a modern North African.
Before their head is like on the door when a thought hits them. Do you have a section on dictionary and translations?
Oh, many. Yes, we sure do. What language are you looking for?
It's a bit old and eclectic. Is that something that your shop carries?
Oh, it's our speciality.
Perhaps I will be returning soon. But for now, I must go. And they wave calmly, as calm as they can, try to leave.
Yep. And on your way out, he's like, "Thanks for stopping in. I hope you can find us again."
The moment they're around a corner, they vomit in a trash can in an alleyway. Because why? They just got rid of it. How?
I could not pass up the opportunity of bringing in the creepy bookstore that I wasn't sure how we'd work into the story. So thank you for that.
Hey, I live to be traumatized for others' pleasure.
Yeah, and then as you come back out the alley and after puking, you look where the store was, and it's not there. There's no sign of it. There's a Foot Locker and a Tower Records. And you would have sworn that bookstore was between the two of them when you went in. Well, we lost your sound. And you didn't touch anything.
Or he just failed another sanity check.
Yeah.
All right, the La Sombra came out a little bit. I'll keep it under reins. They kind of sigh, and it's almost weird how it's soothing to think about organizing an investigation for later. But they take out a pocket notebook, write down the address, and at the very bottom, either new strain or new infection from previous strain. Submit to hire and put it away and go on trying to find the others.
Okay. Yeah, so by the time you get back, there's no sign of Gourmet and Greeby. But you two are up on the roof, and you'll see Gaucher coming down the street. And they come up and stop and look around like, what's going on?
Gourmet will just whistle.
All right, so you hear, and you look up, and there are, Gourmet's face peeking at you, but over the edge of the roof of the building directly across from the McAllister.
He'll just salute with his coffee cup. So.
They just salute with their notebook and begin trying to join.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You slip into the building. It's also residential, but the front door is not locked. It looks like it's supposed to have a buzz-in lock, but it seems to be broken or bypassed in some way. So you just slip on in, head upstairs to the roof. You'll see that it's not locked as well. That also seems to be broken. And you can join the other two. So the three of you are up on the roof watching. Time passes. Dusk falls. And which of you has the lowest sanity?
I have 32.
I have 52.
I got 38.
Okay, so Greeby will notice as dusk falls in the, there's a bit of a fog that's kind of coalesced over the building, just from smoke particles in the air, water kind of condensing around them as the air cools. And in the sort of mist that's swirling around, you think you see for just a moment like a flicker of an extra set of floors above where the fourth and higher floors might be on the McAllister building, but only for a second, and they just sort of flicker and fade back out. And you're left with a feeling of success. You think you have thwarted this, whatever this is, whatever this extra dimensional incursion into our world would be. You're left with a sense of finality and job well done, and a little bit of dread. Now you have to report to Agent Marcus, so you've got some writing to do. Who's going to write the report? Are you going to all write it together, or trust one of you to do it, or are you just going to call them and make a verbal report? Because you could call them up and say, "Hey, meet me at the park," using your code that you've been practicing on.
I kind of feel like written reports aren't a thing, because then that's evidence.
Yeah, they would have to destroy it afterwards, but
so I almost think it's
somewhere they keep records of things, because otherwise, you wouldn't be able to survive with a completely oral, history of what's going on. So there must be some sort of record somewhere. You're not sure exactly where a central location would be that they're keeping that sort of thing, but at least in terms of like reporting back to Agent Marcus, you're sure you can do that in person, verbally.
I think Gourmet will take it on himself to call Marcus and set up a meeting for the four of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, ring, ring. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Who's this?
This is a friend in the food industry. I wanted to let you know that we wanted to set up some time for us to show you our latest wares.
I think you may have the wrong number. I'm not in the food industry.
Oh, I am. But I think you'd be interested in what I'm selling.
I don't know why you think that. This is the oddest salesman cold call I've ever gotten.
Well, we offer very special products. We're doing a demonstration at blah, 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 location, time. Mm-hmm. If you're interested in trying out if our wares would be to your fancy, then please join us.
Okay. Good luck with that. Click.
Click.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay. And he has a 60 to begin with. So
that's good enough. You realize you forgot to slip in the code word, fellatio.
The player did not remember that from.
I knew you didn't.
Yeah.
But I think you did a good enough job being weird and Cody that you think he's gotten the concept, and we'll meet you. I guess tomorrow was in the park or wherever. Yeah. So unless there's something else you guys want to do, we can fast forward to Agent Marcus.
I'm going to say, if you really like my meat, we got fellatio.
I'm sorry, folks. Some of us never matured past high school. I am unfortunately one of them, so that's coming from experience.
All right. Do you want to role play the meeting with Marcus, or do you just want to?
No. Okay, I think
you meet up with him. You give him your report. He seems satisfied, and he says thank you, and till the next time we need you, and send you on your way. So you guys disperse. Are you planning to hang out together Sunday afternoon, or are you good to be rid of each other?
No, I think no. I think to the three wins we go.
All right. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I think Greavy's going to be making a trip to Chicago.
Yep, sounds good. All right, so then the three of you disperse. We need more than 15 minutes to do the next part of this. So the next step is going to be an extended home vignette. So normally in this game, you do little home vignettes to recover sanity and stress and things like that. So we'll do an extended one next time. So take a look in the meantime at the personal pursuits that you can do starting on page 78. Okay. So what we're going to do is 3 of those. I'm going to make sure I'm looking at this right. Where's the... Get to the right page.
Yeah, it looks like page 78. So...
yeah, we're going to do 3 home pursuits. So pick 3 of those things that because there's going to be a gap of 20 years time before we come back. So when next we meet, it will be 2015.
Okay.
And we'll see what the agents have been up to. So think about what you've been up to over the next 20 years. pick 3 of those pursuits that you might do, or that you might be interested in. It can, of course, change as once you find out, as we start getting into the little vignettes, you might, change your mind. But look and see what some, which of them look interesting to you. You can do things like improving your skills and stats. So you can do some like training to try to get stuff. You can do therapy, try to get your sanity back, work on bonds, that kind of thing. And you should all take a new damaged veteran option. So on page 36 of the Agent's Handbook, there's information about damaged veterans. So, including this and then other adventures you might have over the 20 years, you're going to get some experience and be damaged. So think about which one of those appeals to you. You could take a second one, but I recommend just taking the one. Other things to think about before we get back together with that. So we'll actually go through it next time because there's some notes on because this is over a 20-year period. If you choose this option, take a little bit extra bonus, that kind of thing. So we'll figure that out next time. But I'll go through with each of you and do a little vignette on so what are you doing, and then we'll do just a quick description of what life's been like, and then you might decide, well, I'm going to do based on that. Maybe I'll choose a different second and third thing to do. So stay flexible. Also know that there's going to be some stress on your bonds. So we'll kind of go through which of your bonds get stressed. You'll lose a bond. You'll come up with a new bond. So you can be thinking about what new bonds you might pick up during the time. So and then we'll sort of adjust the characters and then move into basically Act 2 of the scenario, which is a volume of secret faces, I think is what it's called. Yes, a volume of secret faces.
Okay.
And we'll probably call that, make that the next episode title as well.
Okay.
Sound good? Anybody have anything they want to talk about or ask questions about?
No, I mean, I just have some reading to do.
Don't do it at the bookstore.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I mean, I'm already thinking about bonds. Oh boy, I want to get rid of all of them, but so okay.
Yep. And I'll warn you now, Mouse. This is where I asked before we started if it was okay for me to mess with Yelena. Where it's going to get messy.
Great.
All right.
I was gonna be like, oh well, she's definitely gonna check in on her sister, and that'll be a
and that's
positive
perfect.
experience. That'll be a positive experience.
Positively bone chilling. I'm sure there'll be positive experiences over the 20 years. Chicago's a very nice city, I hear.
Yeah. So we're. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask for the other two of you. Yeah, you'll also be losing one bond, so be thinking about which one you might want to lose, and any input you want into how that's done, whether it's just the stress causes a divorce, or they end up dead for some reason. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, because he's got 3 bonds that, oh God, all of them could go, but yeah, all right, I got to think about it. So
yep.
Yeah.
That way you're not hit with too big of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but you'll get a new bond.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
Maybe he'll get a dog or something.
I have to say that other than these little vignettes where we're talking about the bonds, there hasn't been here because it's just been the 3 days. So you haven't really had a chance to use bonds the way they typically are, where you can, basically put stress on your bonds instead of going insane kind of thing and use them to get free back. In the next 2 acts, there can be, but it's also going to be a lot of running from one fire to the next. So we may not actually use them that much. So this will be the time where we get to lean into the bonds a little bit.
Okay.
It'll depend on you guys how you want. If you get to where it's hot and heavy. You're like, that's it. We need a break to get sanity back. Let's break off and go do some home vignettes. Then that'll be fine. We can do that. We can play it slow. We can do this for 2-3 years.
I definitely need to get some sanity back. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what if I'm able to, I think what if we could work it in is I think she's gonna try to go off with Tony and be a part of his crew for his no reservation show. When he leaves the restaurant and goes to work on his show, she's gonna go travel around with Tony.
Absolutely, that sounds. I don't know where that would fall under.
That show ran from 2005 to 2012. So.
Yeah.
We're
Right
picking up
time
again
frame.
in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we'll be picking up again in 2015.
Okay.
All right,
So-
cool. Anything we need to announce?
Let's see. Well, next Monday is another One Ring game. Next Wednesday, something new's coming up.
Oh, right, Mothership. That's next Wednesday. I have to run Mothership. Yeah, so I'm running a 3-episode, possibly 3-episode. We'll see. It might only end up being 2, depending on how fast people die or solve the puzzles. So that should be fun. It's a homemade scenario, so I'm starting to hit that panic mark where I'm like, I'm not sure it's complete. I don't know. I just need to get the first episode done by Wednesday.
just one at a time.
Yeah. I'm always more comfortable putting together something, from a pre-written module, because I can always blame the module. It's like, oh, who wrote this? This sucks. You'll probably hear that a lot as we're doing our Mothership. So. But it should be fun. We've got Tom playing. Are you joining us this time, Minty? For Mothership?
I will be cheering from the sidelines.
All
Don't
right.
worry about the corpse in half in space.
Remember. But, we got Vivi and Jeffrey and
Plague.
Plaguewind. Is that it? I think it's just the 5 of
Brutus, isn't he?
Brutus. Oh yes, James will be joining us. A new member of the channel.
Yeah.
Will cut his teeth on Mothership. Apparently, that when he saw the posting for that, he was like, "Ooh, that sounds intriguing." And he's been doing a deep dive into Mothership, so that's gonna be great. I can't wait to get James into this. A friend of mine from another Discord server, so that's gonna be awesome.
Cool.
And probably not Ellie, although she had expressed interest. I think something work-related came up. So, but who knows? Maybe at the last minute. Probably not.
Up to you. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have 5 of our members flying off into space on a long-haul cryo sleep ship, and then shenanigans.
Yeah. Shouldn't be anything like Alien Earth. So,
Yeah.
if anybody's watching the show, I love it. I was really skeptical at first.
Alien Earth. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a new show on I guess FX or Hulu. It's set between. It's actually set before the first Alien movie. And I was a little skeptical at first because I was like, oh, why did they gotta come to Earth? But it's been very good. So
Okay. All right. We'll have to give that one a shot. I think we've got Hulu.
Yeah, it is very good. So
Cool. All right. Then I will see you, 2 of you, on Monday for One Ring.
Yep.
And Minty, I'll see you when I see you.
When work isn't dragging me through the mud, kick my teeth in.
All right. Yeah. I hope next Thursday isn't quite as bad as it was today.
glad you
Better
can make
not
it.
be.
All right.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.